Hey, and welcome to map 3 of Duke Nukem 3D. As you can see, we started this level in the electric chair. There's a pig cop up there, but more pressingly, there's a pig cop in here. Once we come inside here, the pig cop on the other side of that gate will actually walk through, and he'll ambush us. So we've got to be really careful here, because we are using our kicking abilities until we can actually get the pistol, so it's actually quite difficult. It's very possible to die there. So we need to press both of these switches. One of them gives us a shotgun, which is just behind the electric chair here. This will be very useful. And the other one opens this curtain here, which actually shows the aliens watching us fry to death in that chair. It's pretty gross, but pretty hilarious when you think about it. Hit this switch here and the curtain will shut again. Not sure why you'd want to do that, but it's there if you want it. We're going to grab this med pack. Probably going to need it. If you hit that switch, you can actually go back out there, although quite why you'd want to do that, where you can just run through the window, is anyone's guess. So in this version of Duke Nukem 3D, this is a church, or a little chapel here. As you can see, there's a lot of imagery around. There's some stained glass windows there, there's a cross, there's lots of nice, church stuff going on here. We're interested mainly in this switch here, however, because if we can hit this, if I had the crosshair on, I'd probably have been able to hit that quicker. We actually get some goodies up here, including some armor and a power-up. So we're going to shoot this guy here, and we get another atomic health, which is really nice. But that's not the end of the secrets here. Click on this thing here, the room turns red. Yeah, so this room actually transforms. Let's get rid of this octo brain here. And there is Doom Guy. Yes, one of the more iconic little Easter eggs in Duke Nukem 3D. That is indeed Doom Guy, and one Doom Space Marine. So when we head out here, you can see that there's a bunch of enemies here that we need to take care of. We can't progress further than that because there's a blue door there. But luckily, this area here has opened up for us. If you come inside here, you can see a jail cell. There's not much going on in here. We'll just kill you. No need for you to suffer. Duke's got to go. When you got to go, you got to go. If you click behind here, it actually opens up a little ammo bonus. So we're going to grab this. And then we're going to head inside here. Now, we can't do much in here right now, but later on, you'll see that this actually connects to a much larger area. And if you look there, there's an enemy just waiting to drop down. We'll be talking about that a bit later on as well. So when you come in here, you're met by these two sort of massive machines, and it's very possible to get squished between these two, so you have to be very careful. We're going to take our time here and kill as many of these enemies as we can. Got the RPG, very nice. I'm going to try and grab that atomic health. Be very careful when you go for this, because it is possible to fall down, and when you're down, unless you have a jetpack, there's no way to get back up. So once you hit the blue key here, you can enter this area. Now, here's where we kind of make our first encounter with laser trip mines. So in the first episode here, these are actually just hazards. But from episode 2 onwards, we'll actually be able to take these out. You can't take them out with shooting them, you have to take them out with some kind of explosion. So, pipe bombs or RPG will do the trick. We're just going to run around here. As you can see, we blew up some canisters there. Ow, that hurt. But this actually leads us back to that little cell that we saw earlier on. So it kind of all loops back together pretty nicely. As we head up here, you can see that we are entering sort of the back quarters of the prison here. This is kind of... I've never been sure if this is like a dining room kind of thing, or I don't know. If someone knows what it is in the comments, let me know. But you can see that there's a bunch of pig cops behind these force fields. Now, force fields have kind of been used... Oh, hello. They're used in Duke Nukem as both a way to block the player and to stop you leaving the level. We actually need to head inside here. So you gotta be really careful in here, because when you go for that yellow key up there, a nasty little trap will open up here. So you've got to get in and get out. If you don't, a bunch of tripwires will activate and you get stuck inside, probably killing you, no matter how much health you've got, because there's a lot going on in there, as you can see. So for now, we've got the yellow key here. We're going to head outside. That pig cop spawned here, I think, once we grab the yellow key. There's not much really happening here. As you can see, there's nothing really outside, but we are going outside here. So, as you can see, it's night time here. So we're still kind of in the same locale as we were previously, although we have lost the sort of city aesthetic, which is a bit of a shame. So outside here, you want to grab the red key, but there's quite a bit to do if you want to go snooping around. Destroying these pig cops in their little flying machines is probably the first thing you want to do. You can see as well that those turrets are taking quite a little aim at us, so we want to kind of get rid of those as well. If you jump up here and jump up here, it is very easy to get up here and take these out from close quarters. Mind my mouth there. So we're going to take out the enemies up top here. So these guys are actually in prison cells. So they're here. I don't know what crimes they've committed to their alien brethren, but you know, if they've ended up in prison alongside me, they must be the good guys. I mean, that's my headcanon anyway.
Let God sort him out.
So when you go through the middle here, you get all those atomic healths, which is very nice. There's no way that's never not nice. Now, interestingly, we get a tiny bit of story progression in a second. And it kind of happens in a very organic way as well, because we'll head up top here, kill you. And when we hit this switch here, you'll see this alien in the middle. And when we get inside, it will say... So, yeah, that's a tiny bit of story progression. I mean, compared to what you get in Doom, it's amazing story progression. But realistically, it's just here to kind of remind you that this alien invasion is an ongoing thing. When you hit these switches here, they open the gates that we saw earlier on with the force fields. As you can see, deactivates the force field. If we head outside here, there is a bunch of laser mines here that we don't want to really trip. Sometimes the pipe bomb is just the better option. If you click this wall here, you can actually jump up top and grab the goodies in here. So there's some pipe bombs on the side here, and there's an atomic health over here, which is very nice. So we're going to quickly dive into this vent here. We get some armor, and it takes us back to where we were earlier. So that hole in the roof that enemy fell out of earlier, that's where you get into it. So this level loops around very nicely. I don't think this level's my favourite in terms of the design. I think it's the weakest of the three we've seen so far, but still great, still really fun. And yeah, there's a lot to like about this one, because once you kind of figure out how to make use of these force fields and how you switch around, it's actually pretty fun to kind of explore up here. So take care of those pig cops. So again, we'll pop our head through these cells. We took out the enemies earlier on. You can actually get outside there if you really want to. Not quite sure why you'd want to, but you know, it's there if you want to. And we're going to make our way towards the end of the level. So this poster here, nice little reference to the Shawshank Redemption. If you look carefully, you can see behind it. I think there's a way to go through the main gates. I don't think this is the only way out here. Not sure about that. This is the only way I've ever come out here, but who knows. We're going to head out the sewage, well, the sewage pipe as I like to call it. Those protective boots we saw earlier on giving us some help here. And you can see we have a nuclear submarine in front of us. Again, one thing I love about Duke Nukem 3D, it's got such a flair for real world items, like the submarine, like the buildings, like the streets. Everything just feels a bit more kind of like grounded than in Doom and other shooters around this time. But as you can see, when you open that switch there, it sends you back to the yard where we got the red key. And yeah, this is pretty much the end of the level. This is a nuclear submarine and we're dancing around on it. Take care of you. So you can see the nice bit of detail. Those are the gates that Duke will be leaving out the level through. So we're going to take care of this. This room is red in this version. As you'll see in a bit, that isn't the case in the N64 version. But we'll get to that later on. There's actually a little secret here. There it is. You can actually see the nuclear reactor and grab yourself a med pack while you're at it. And yeah, that's pretty much the end of this level, to be honest. I love how there's a sense of progression in Duke Nukem 3D. So the first two levels are you kind of reacting to the alien invasion, and here you've been captured at the end of the second level and brought to death row to be executed by the aliens, and then you're breaking out of prison. It's really great escalation in my opinion, and it's something that Duke Nukem does really well. Duke Nukem 3D manages to capture that kind of progression super well in the way that the levels are structured. So now we'll dive over to the N64 version, and a quick note here, I'm actually using the Red Nukem version of Duke 64 here. Now what that means basically is this is a version of Duke Nukem 64 that is kind of running on PC, which means I can use mouse and keyboard, but what it also means, no awful controls. I'm really sorry, but there was no way I was going to be able to get through all these N64 levels with the N64 version and the controls, and just it was an absolute slog. And I feel this way I can actually show you things a bit better, so this works out better for everyone. So as we jump through the window here, we can see that there's still enemies in here. Ow, they shot the fire hydrant behind me. But here there's a door and what looks like a window. Now, is that actually a window or not? First we'll grab the med pack before we ponder this. Again, opens the gate to let you back into the first part of the level. It's interesting because that's a change and a half. And there's another big change coming up here. So we'll go around and kill all these enemies first. As you can see, the church/chapel has gone. In place of it is this security area. And if we come inside here, I actually really love what they've done here, because this is like a big prison block, probably for the high security prisoners. And when you see who's in the end cell, yeah. Ah, goodness me. I love me a bit of Hannibal Lecter, and this is a nice little nod to Silence of the Lambs. I don't know if it's as good or better than the Doom reference, because like Doom and Duke Nukem were kind of like vying for that FPS crown back in the day, but I think this is really cool. And I like this as well. Like, so this is like a little office. This is probably like the warden's office. You can see they've got it set up so they're actually recording us, kind of, you know, watching us get executed. So that leads us back around there. So we're actually going to dive back in, and you can crawl under the doors here. You can pick up some SMGs here. There's some coffee mugs there. Nice little poster there. You can destroy the coffee mugs if you really want to. But yeah, we're just going to quickly check around, make sure there's no little secrets that I'm missing in here. But I love that they added this area. It actually fits really well with the theme of this level. Like, because it feels like a high security area where you keep prisoners. It actually adds to the level. So we'll free you. There's not much in here again, so that's just the way it is. But the level pretty much goes on as normal here. Gonna shoot you there. The hole's still in the roof there, which we will obviously be going down later on. I cannot imagine having to try and do this on the N64, but with the N64 controls. I'm sorry. I have no regrets about doing this. This is so much easier to play. Like, and it means I can just show you things a bit better, rather than kind of like having to fight against the controls. That was the main reason for me wanting to switch to red. But yeah, we'll take care of the pig cops here. So again, there are trip mines all around. We want to blow these up as quickly as we can. Cool. So this room is pretty much fundamentally the same. There's not any real differences between this room and the PC version. Likewise here, it's very much the same. It's as you were, basically. This level doesn't really have like the scale of like skybox changes, so it's not like they've built like areas outside the level as they did in the previous two levels, because there's really no need for it, because we're in a prison here. The force fields are still there, and as you can see, all these enemies are kind of chilling out in here. Interesting that they're kind of more pinkish, the lights there. So I'm not a huge lover of the grenade launcher. I have to say, like, the RPG does a better job for me, personally speaking. But again, we don't want to get caught in here, so we're going to head outside here. Excellent. Going to grab those boots because we'll be needing those at the end of the level. So with the yellow key means we can actually head outside here. Now, again, from this point on, there's not really that much difference in the level, I'd argue. But again, they don't use the city skybox that, you know, is in Duke Nukem 3D. They actually use just normal daytime skybox, and you'll see what I mean in a second when we head outside. Take you guys out. I'm going to stand back. I take it back, I love the grenade launcher. So you can see it is daytime here, and everything's pretty much the same here. It's a very faithful recreation of the level here that you'd play on the PC version. Although remember that, like, you know, a lot of the things that make the PC version kind of a bit special character-wise are not here. A lot of Duke Nukem's like swear words and a lot of the insinuations and sort of sexual elements that are kind of in Duke Nukem and poked fun at, they're all completely gone from this version. So if you ever kind of want to come and play this version, do expect cutbacks. Wow, this does not want to die. So you can see again, these enemies up here are just sort of watching me. I'm going to take them out. There's not much they can really do to hide from me, because I can always just lob grenades in there if I'm really feeling it. So we're going to head up top here. There is a slight change to this room up ahead. There's no longer a switch that you have to press. I also think that effect's a lot nicer. It feels more kind of otherworldly and alien compared to the PC version, where it's just kind of like a floating graphic. But as you can see, they've actually got rid of the switch that spins the walls of this room around, which means that you can kind of just traverse it as you normally would any other room. I'm guessing that that's to do with the limitations of the N64. But as you can see, oh, well, you would see if I hadn't just fallen down. Excuse me. So yeah, the vent leads the same way. I just think, like, this looks a lot better. I'm sorry, like, I know the PC version's the traditional one, but it just looks better in this version. So there's an atomic health there, which we can't grab because we have full health. There's some pipe bombs over there, which obviously we are going to grab. So, same as before, if we go inside here, we do kind of get to go inside these cells. There's only a bit of ammo in each one. There's nothing too exciting here. But one thing they have changed, they've took away the lady poster. Oh, I actually think that's worse because it's a lot harder to sort of tell that there's a gap behind it because it's actually not designed with a hole in it like the PC original version. So I guess that's a slight downgrade. It kind of makes the back end of this level a bit more difficult. I guess if you're a first time player, you might not know to go into the poster here. So back in this tunnel here, and we're heading out to our lovely submarine. It has a different feel to it. Like, say what you want, but like changing the skybox really does kind of give some of these levels a different atmosphere. We'll grab the scuba gear. Again, when you go inside here, it literally just sort of lets you kind of back out into the courtyard area here. Let's head inside the submarine here. So it's a bit red, but it's not as red as the PC version. This bit's still here, along with the portable med kit. I personally love the change they made at the start. I actually think that it fits a lot better than the chapel, believe it or not. I understand that like a chapel in a prison is kind of a big deal. Oh look, we can do that. So if we do that, it brings up the periscope. But yeah, I actually really like the high security wing. It's really well thought out, and while it's not got the Doom reference that I know everyone loves in Duke Nukem 3D, it does have its own reference that I'd argue is probably just as impressive. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this level?